takes extraordinary artists to be here. All us, most of us here have a disability. Some of us, and most of the people here, you actually can't see their disability. And you know, people look at me and think, God, she's odd. Because a lot of disabilities are actually unseen. Yep. The lack of accessibility. A lot of us here tonight live in poverty. Our housing is uncertain. We don't possibly work. But I'll tell you what, the thing we've all got in common is we're amazing artists, and we here are so passionate about our art because like I had this extraordinary uptake of over 70 people, and then it was a dilemma of who do you choose? And so I think we've got an amazing lineup of people. It says on the thing that they're accessible toilets, but they're certainly not accessible toilets at all tonight. So the guys with the hats on, we're trying to make you be able to at least get to the toilet tonight. So if you've got any dilemmas with that, it's to see us, the people with the hats, because we're sort of meant to know what's sort of going on. We need an assemblage of people behind us.
My name is Anand Mahmood. I'm one of the Yarra councillors. It's a pleasure to be here at Climate for the opening of this unique exhibition, which brings a disability perspective to the climate change conversation. This event is a testament to the diverse voices in shaping our understanding and response to the climate emergency. We believe in the importance of inclusive dialogue. Artists have always been at the forefront of transformation, and this exhibition is a testament to the capacity to influence change. The diverse perspectives presented here remind us of the importance of inclusivity in our response to the climate emergency. We believe that a disability voice be included in this position of influence, and this group exhibition by a range of disability artists is an effective way to ensure that happens.
I consider myself an activist in that area. And have been able to do that in a number of different ways, but have also been excluded from being as active as I would like to. All people generally who find themselves politically active in lots of ways will find that their beliefs come up against and mesh with what's happening to our environment, as you can see reflected in the beautiful artwork tonight. Thank you to Louise and to the Climate Art Gallery for actually platforming our voices. It's rare, but it's very appreciated.
When it comes to disability, it's been treated more as a subject matter and a theme. Very importantly, within our community, there are a number of different intersectionalities. What became that horrific summer of the bushfires in 2019 and 2020, and deaf and disabled people were incredibly impacted. And then we went into, which we're still living, the COVID pandemic. Because as individuals we can do a lot, but when we work together as a collective and as a community and come together, I think that power becomes even stronger. What would a future look like if deaf and disabled and neurodivergent individuals led the way? What sort of conversations would be had? What problems missed by non-disabled people would be identified? And what solutions would be posed? And most importantly, how can we empower our community to get those messages across?
The similarities of the importance of storytelling in First Nations people, and when we're exploring some of that dialogue of First Nations, it actually simulates very, very closely with people with lived experience of disability.
As a very small child, a very long time ago, I contracted polio, and for many years I was known as a cripple, handicapped, and later as a person living with a disability. I now know myself as proudly disabled, and that's very recent. A disability lens on climate change engages the word lens to suggest how we disabled people might view and express opinions about climate change. The word view, like lens, is a seeing word indicating how pervasive concepts of visuality inform our knowledge. In other words, seeing is believing. This concept has triggered much of my work, as my own experience of disability helped create a lens with which to inform my ideas. Conversely, I'm equally interested in how misrecognition, or the inaccuracy of the sense of sight, can lead to misunderstandings, especially of the natural world. However, we must consider in the disability space that not all of us live our lives with a sense of sight. And as Faye and Debbie, blind artist, says, there are other sensory ways to have creative conversations. The problem for those with vision impairment or who are blind is that they contend with a sighted, ableist social context on a daily basis. Others may have disabilities that are not visible, and so by not fitting into the expected appearance of disability, cause their credibility to be questioned when they seek support. Being othered by disability is an isolating experience and can occur when the atypical body becomes the object of the gaze. A British disability activist describes this as hypervisibility and instant categorisation. One might be seen but not necessarily known or understood. But how does this idea fit with the issues of climate change? I propose that this is where the problem of misrecognition occurs, that the natural world, while constantly being gazed upon, is only fractionally understood from a shallow external reading. The myriad interconnections in nature are not visible to the naked eye. Without a tangible understanding of the true characteristics of our environments, a form of socio-political blindness occurs and is potentially why so much damage is done. Things are disappearing faster than we know. Responsibility to halt the effects of climate change falls to each of us as individuals. How disability might prevent a person from participating when the capacity to engage with harm reduction requires support. Temperature variations will cause us to be more dependent on the use of power, and limited incomes mean we may not be able to afford energy-saving devices. Our mental health may affect our strength and capacity to cope, which in turn becomes a problem for everyone. Hardship caused by the impacts of extreme weather events, droughts, fires and floods are a now and real and present danger, particularly where disaster relief may not be accessible or counted on as a certainty. Many of us disabled artists respond to the climate emergency by exploring themes of care, hope, interdependence, emotional connection and activism. Things can be done differently, inclusively and protectively to stem the speed of climate change. We respect the interdependence of ecologies and ecosystems, as well as our emotional connection with nature. This exhibition explores the intersection of art and everyday life at a time of uncertainty and change.
So who would like some blackboard?
It is getting immeasurably worse because of LED lights. So more and more people are using them. Some people think that by lighting up a beautiful cliff is a great idea during a festival, but you're actually disturbing insects. You're disturbing everything, the whole ecosystem. When I came up with the title of the paper, Whitening the Sky, it's literally about colonialists destroying the night sky. The artwork is one of my artworks that's scrolling, and it was an artwork about a paper that I wrote, and for me it's a big deal because I'm neurodiverse and I published, I'm one of the authors of the paper with an astronomer and an astrophysicist. So I decided to make an artwork of the paper.
It becomes overwhelming, and it's so urgent that it becomes paralysing just psychologically. So I'm just trying, I had so many different perspectives that I wanted to make a work about, and I felt so overwhelmed that I thought I couldn't. And this is, so just this is my expression of that, just feeling information overload. I'm normally all about blue, but the red needed to be telling a story of urgency and alarm and alert.
We use tea bags now. We use them once and they're thrown away. The life cycle of items have have really changed. So that's really a good example, an everyday example of that throwaway attitude that we sort of have. Well, everything's replaceable, everything can be switched out and changed. And I think that's really profound. It's quite a flat piece, I suppose, but the bright colours, I feel like are sort of like screaming out, look at me now, pay attention. It's almost, you know, trying to really vie for your attention in the space. And I think that's part of why I made those decisions.
And this represents the disability community's increased vulnerability to extreme weather and disaster events caused by climate change. A community that is overlooked and unheard by those in power. The smoky haze in the image, a sense of urgency radiates from the toxic smog that encroaches on a seemingly serene tropical paradise. The figure is stranded under a small umbrella with 2 paddle boards, portraying the inadequate and inaccessible options which are currently available to those with a disability in the climate crisis. The photograph is printed on recyclable composite aluminium metal. I wanted to avoid traditional chemical waste products and ensure the piece is not an addition to the crisis we face. I specifically wanted to highlight, as I said, the significant impact climate change is having on our disability community due to our increased vulnerability in situations of natural disasters, food, housing, and also resource instability. Although disproportionately and adversely impacted, our community is being excluded from the conversations of power and in rooms and we're not taking up room in positions of power. This community and nationwide response affects our individual safety and well-being, particularly those of us who feel the effects quickly and dramatically, such as in heat waves. For me, my body cannot tolerate extreme weather temperatures. In a fire and a flood, we may require particular access needs and more warning time to safely evacuate. And during supply shortages, this can affect our ability to access crucial life-sustaining treatment or particular food that we might need. This is my debut visual art piece, and I'm eager to create many more. I'm passionate about using my experience from the past 10 years of living with a disability, with a condition that has slowly progressed over time, to connect with others. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share and to gather with inspiring artists and with our viewers, to share my passion and sense of urgency for a better, more inclusive and sustainable world.
Human was a word that was developed in the 1600s during the French Revolution, and actually only applied to white privileged males. If you're disabled, if you're a female, if you're a person of colour, you didn't have human rights. The actual vinyl works and this work relates to how the human is not above other, everything else that's alive on the planet.